Christmas and holiday break? Yeah! Me too, me too. I gotta ask, some people have probably seen me perform the Grinch before. If you've seen me perform the Grinch before, put your hands up. Wow, that's a lot of you. Put your hands back down. Okay, don't spoil it for everybody else. I'm only kidding. Okay. Probably most of us know the story of the Grinch, though, right? Do you guys know the story of the Grinch? Yeah. Yes! Okay. Well, I learned the story of the Grinch a long time ago, and every now and again I get up and I perform it for the lower school and for other people. And so that's what I'm going to do this morning, okay? Everybody ready? Yeah! So as I perform, I'm going to be playing two different people. I'm going to be playing somebody from Whoville, who is the narrator, and I'm going to be playing the Grinch, okay? So here we go. All the Whos down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas. Oh, the whole Christmas season. Oh, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. But I think the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm-lighted houses below in the town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a holly Who wreath. And they're hanging their stockings. He snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here. He growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming. I must find a way to keep Christmas from coming. For he knew in the morning, all the Who girls and boys, they'd wake bright and early and they'd rush for their toys. And then, oh, the noise. Oh, the noise. The noise. If there was one thing the Grinch couldn't stand, it was noise, 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 noise. And then the Whos, young and old, would sit down to a feast. And they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, 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 feast. They'd feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast. Roast beast was a feast the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they do something he liked least of all. All the Whos down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and those Whos would start singing. And they'd sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop Christmas from coming. But how? And then he got an idea. An awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do. The Grinch laughed in his throat. I'll make a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. He chuckled and clucked. What a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I'll look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer was scarce, there were none to be found. Did that stop the Grinch? Nope. The Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he took his dog Max, and he took some red thread, and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. And then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up Poor Max. And then the Grinch said, "Giddy up!" And the sleighs started down toward the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. All their windows were dark. Quiet snow filled the air. When the Grinch came to the first little house on the square, "This is stop number 1. The old Grinchy Claus hissed as he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. And then he slid down the chimney. A rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once, for a moment or two, and then he stuck his head out at the fireplace flue, where the little Who stockings hung all in a row. "These stockings," he Grinched, "are the first things to go." And then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present. Pop guns, bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn, and plums. He stuffed them in bags, and then the Grinch very nimbly took all the bags and shoved them one by one up the chimney. Then he slunk to their icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who's pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash, while that Grinch even took the last can of Who hash. And then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. "And now," grinned the Grinch, "I will stuff up the tree." But as the Grinch took the tree, as he started to shove, he heard the small sound, like the coo of a dove. And the Grinch turned around, and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou Who, who was no more than 2. And she said, "Santa Claus, why?
Santa Claus, why?
Why are you taking our Christmas tree?" "Why are you taking the Christmas tree?"
Why are you taking your Christmas tree?
"Why?" Say, "Why?"
Why?
But you know, that old Grinch was so smart and so slick. He thought up a lie, and he thought it up quick. "Why, my sweet little tot," the fake Santa Claus lied, "there's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking you back to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, and I'll bring it back here." And his fib fooled the child, and he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who was in bed with her cup, he crept to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. And then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. And the last thing he took was the log for their fire. On their walls, he left nothing but wood hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then the Grinch did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was 1:15. All the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a snooze, when he packed up his sled, packed it up with their presents, their ribbons and wrappings, the tags and the tinsels, the trimmings and trappings. And 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh-pooh to the Who's. He was Grinchishly humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. Oh, they're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a moment or two, and then all the Who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo! "That's a sound," said the Grinch, "that I simply must hear." And he paused, and the Grinch put a hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, But then it started to grow. But this sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded merry. But it couldn't be so. But it was merry, very. All the Who's down in Whoville, the tall and the small, were all singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came somehow or other. It came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. He puzzled and puzzled till his puzzler was sore. And then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe, he thought, Christmas doesn't come from a store. Maybe perhaps Christmas means a little bit more. And now that his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he rode with his load through the bright morning light. He brought back their presents. He brought back the feast. And he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. So welcome, Christmas, as we stand heart to heart and hand in hand. For Christmas time will always be just so long as we have we. Thank you. Thank you guys very, very much for coming out this morning. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. And who knows, maybe some of you are in pre-K will get to hear me do this in another few years. Thank you and Merry Christmas, everybody!